Welcome to another St. By Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Duncan never hide.
Good evening and welcome back to the St. By Night Entertainment Network. Happy New Year, everybody. We are so glad to be back with you here on Twitch and on all of the platforms where you watch St. By Night. St. Petersburg By Night is a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. But since it's Tuesday night, it's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa Bay, Florida, just across the bay from St. Petersburg. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. By Night, and I am so excited to be back. It's been a long holiday season and a very, very happy new year, but I have missed my pack of Garou, and I've missed being here and entertaining all of you, and now it's time to get back to our story. If you're a fan of the World of Darkness, and if you're a fan of Werewolf the Apocalypse, as well as Vampire the Masquerade and Hunter the Reckoning, you should go follow St. By Night or join our community by following us at all of those links and social media down below. And if you want to get involved with this wonderful, crazy experiment that's been going on for the past 3 years, you can join our Discord community by joining us at the link down below there, and you can get involved in some of our one-shots that we have going on, and we also have some new tables starting up in the new year in the Vampire the Masquerade system and the Hunter the Reckoning system, and rumor has it that there may even be some Werewolf the Apocalypse tables starting up possibly in the next few months. So head on over and join our amazing community. We have 200 plus members in that community, and we talk about all sorts of things ranging from Jujutsu Kaisen to the Detroit Lions, who are having an amazing season. Hopefully this ages well in a few months, but I'm, knocking on wood that they have a really good season for the rest of the year. But that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is Rage Across Tampa, and where we left off in 2024. It was the trial of Aspen Weiss, litany breaker, oath breaker, who had to stand before her mentor, Matthias Morningkill, as well as an assembly of elders of the Garou Nation who were brought forth to kind of cast judgment on her for her actions in the destruction of the cairn that was built in Tampa. The destruction, the sacrifice to appease the storm spirit. After some questioning at the hands of Anna Pelfrey, an elder Garou from Chicago, a judgment was cast. Some actions would have to be taken on Aspen's part to make amends for the damage done. But this is a new nation that they are seeking to build. And because of Aspen's love for her pack, for the sept that she is trying to build, Matthias seeks to turn a new page. And because of all people's, Charles standing up and speaking out against the ways of the old nation, it seems that judgment wasn't going to be cast in the ways of old. Shame wasn't going to be passed down. The litany would be upheld, but in a new way. Aspen would make amends, but in a new chance, a new opportunity. This didn't sit well with all of the elders of the nation, however, as Ravenclaw, a Black Fury elder, stormed out of the meeting, furious at the outcome, seeking for judgment to be upheld, as her partner and wife was affected heavily with the destruction of the old cairn, her soul being injured with the destruction of the cairn. And Ravenclaw, being one of the mentors of Jester, seeks justice in her own way. Justice that she wasn't going to get that evening. And maybe justice that now expands beyond Aspen with this new verdict. But that and more seems yet to be resolved. And all this on the eve of the hunt for Bloody Mary, which still hasn't been concluded. But all that and more is yet to come, as we are on the eve of season 2. And in these last 3 episodes of the season, we're starting at an earlier time, 9 p.m. Eastern, an extra hour of Rage Across Tampa. So for starting with this episode in the next 2 weeks to come, we will be starting at an earlier time. So join us at 9 p.m. Eastern for the next 3 weeks so that you don't miss out on any of the Rage Across Tampa action. But of course, I couldn't do this alone. I have some amazing players who make this story possible, and let's go ahead and introduce those players now. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves if you please.
Hey everybody, my name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Arun of the Gale Stalkers.
Hi, everybody. I am Nori. I play Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everybody, I'm Walks, and I play Lucas Shaw, the Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
Now, unfortunately, our dear Aspen Weiss, our Silverfang Philodox and alpha of this particular pack, was struck by a plague during this holiday season and is unable to join us, but we wish her well and a quick recovery so that she can return to the Rage Across Tampa table next week. We miss you so much, champ, and we can't wait to have you back. For this week's introduction, I am just giving a big frowny face and a quick get well soon so that we can have you back with us next week. Our story this week begins almost immediately where it left off last time we met, immediately following the trial. We start with Jester, who quickly gives chase to Ravenclaw, who is almost immediately making a beeline for a vehicle attempting to leave the gathering to leave the trial, to take off from the assembly. Jester, you can see Raven has nothing but anger and malice bristling from her as she stalks towards a nearby beater of a rental car that seems to be parked in a field near the fairgrounds where the trial was taking place. As she approaches the vehicle, she grabs the handle of the car, and as she yanks on it, the handle breaks off of the side of the rental car with a snap, and you can hear her curse under her breath before she digs her hand into the side of the car, wrenching into the metal with her hand itself before pulling the car door open.
I don't think you're going to get your deposit back.
That's the last fucking thing I'm worried about right now. What do you want, Jess?
Can we talk for a moment?
Gotta be honest, I'm kind of sick of talk right now. It seems like all we've done is talk. And I'm kind of sick of talking. But I'll hear you out.
It's quite obvious that didn't go the way you wanted it to. But given that she gets to choose, what can we do to make amends?
Does that feel like justice to you, Jester?
That's why I'm asking what we can do to make amends. Because you didn't get justice, but there's still an opportunity. And maybe just punishment isn't justice. Fixing what happened or trying to make amends for what happened is justice.
It shouldn't have happened. If the leeches had destroyed the cairn, that's one thing. Because then all of you would have died defending it.
It's okay that we die then. It's
Of
okay that
course
more of
not.
us die.
But that's our job. That's what we do. That's why we're here.
And maybe that's why we're losing. Maybe something needs to change. Because the way it's been, we're not winning, we're losing. And we lose more and more all the time.
No, we're losing because Silverfangs like that are in charge. Because they keep thinking they know what's best for all of us. Because they keep changing their minds about things and they keep sacrificing for the rest of us. They keep making the decisions. Like they know what's best. A new nation? How many new nations have there been? When they put the crown on the fucking Silverfang, it was a new nation. Every time one of them takes charge, it's a new nation. They think they know what's best every fucking time. That's why we're losing. And you know who gets hurt in the process? Everyone else. Everyone else who's out here fighting the fight and doing the work. No, it wouldn't have been okay for all of you to die. But to just give it away without even a thought, without even a call, without even a consideration? And what, a slap on the wrist? If it had been you that had made the call, do you think they would have gone so lightly?
I don't know.
Probably not. I can tell you that much.
No, it wasn't right. But she also knows it's a mistake that was made.
Oh, good. I'm glad she's learning her lesson. I'm glad the young are learning to walk at the expense of everyone else. Good lesson to be learned. As if the old, as if the rest of us who've been fighting all along, getting our asses kicked out here, haven't taken enough punishment.
No, but you made mistakes when you were young too, right?
Not like this.
So, is there nothing that can be done?
They are going down a very dangerous road. These ideas that they have, they're straying. They're walking away from what we're supposed to be doing.
We're not walking away. We're still fighting.
In boardrooms.
No, not in boardrooms. None of this fight here in Tampa has been in boardrooms.
Really?
Yes. At least from this pack.
What do you want me to say, Jess? I demand satisfaction, and I didn't get it tonight. I told them what I wanted, and they ignored me. We got Silverfang justice. And pathetic Silverfang justice at that. So sure, what, they're gonna come lend a hand and then leave again? They're gonna, what, say some pretty words or send some money? They're gonna come apologize? What, we didn't even get a fucking apology. Not even a fucking apology. She couldn't even say she was sorry. She couldn't even admit she was wrong. Because she doesn't think she was wrong. They never do.
Maybe.
We were with you when you needed us. In the beginning, when you needed your cairn, So you have a choice, Jess. We need you now because they hurt us. They hurt us bad. They hurt me. They hurt Gibbous. And now they've spit in our face.
So, do you want me to abandon them?
I want you to come home. Unless you prefer this way. Because what they've done to us, they're gonna do to you. Hell, they've been doing it to you all along. How much have they taken from you?
The leeches took it from me.
Did they?
Yeah, it was Bateman who took my name and arrested my friends. It was Bateman who twisted my boyfriend's mind and turned him into...
And who's fought to get it back?
I have, but they've also been there for me when I needed it.
With pretty words and empty apologies. The Silver Fang way.
Not just words. Abandoning them isn't going to help them make better choices in the future. And what's left of the nation doesn't seem to be working any better than what was the nation. I want to at least try to put effort into maybe making us equal. You're right. Maybe it shouldn't be just the Silver Fangs on top. Maybe it should be some sort of... maybe a council of all the tribes and not just a king. But that's not going to happen if we abandon what they're trying to do to let them do it themselves.
You were the only one who was honest at that council.
Then maybe I need to stay here and keep being honest until they actually listen.
Or you become a liar just like them.
I don't think I'd be a Black Fury if I became a liar. And that would abandon what is left of anything of me.
If you support her, I'm not sure you're a Black Fury now.
Guess then I'll have to ask Gorgon about that.
See if she answers.
I will.
At that point, Ravenclaw rips the door open and climbs in, slamming it behind her. The window shatters as she does. She jams the key into the ignition. Goodbye, Jess.
Bye.
She turns on the engine. She drives away. We transition to another part of the fairgrounds. Aiden, as the crowd's dispersing, you find yourself off to one side with Duncan, your mentor, his long red hair falling to his shoulders. He kind of puts a hand on your shoulder. I know that was difficult, but you did a good job.
There's a couple times I wanted to stand up and do something not smart.
But you didn't.
Yeah, it was good counsel I had before coming to this, so thank you.
There's going to be a lot of times where you're going to be caught off guard, caught by surprise in these situations, and it's always important to keep a level head. We are always at risk of losing control. But I'm glad that I could give you the opportunity, the advanced warning, especially since I knew I was going to be a part of this. I thought you deserved nothing less. And I think everything turned out for the best.
Yeah, I agree.
There's going
Thank
to
you.
be a lot of work to be done.
You gonna stick around and help? Kind of like pat him in the arm.
Well, that depends. You're asking, but it's not really on you to ask.
You're right.
What exactly are you trying to accomplish? You have no home. Not officially anymore. You're at a great disadvantage now. Strategically, I would say that any offensive at this point would be ill-advised.
Yeah, we're we've backpedaled a little bit, but we find solace in the mud down here. We dig in and we crawl out. The thing about the last place was, yeah, it was great, and a lot of the spirits were there, and appreciate everyone coming out, but it was so well known it was out in the open. So even with that home, we were still at a disadvantage. There are so many weak points there, and Matthias had people come out and helping defend it, but it still is just this giant target in the middle of the city. So as far as a home, we're trying to figure out where we're going to go next. That place that you found me at, somewhere around there, it's kind of secluded, or seeing what we can do out there. And how did you find me?
Once a kinseeker, always a kinseeker. And you never forget the ones you've found. You can always find them again.
All right, that's fair. And you didn't tell me kinseeking was going to be so hard.
It gets easier over time. It's different for everyone.
Yeah, I'm not good with the whole put things in together and smell this and then empty the mind. Not my thing.
You just have to remember what it's like to hunt. Get back in that mindset of narrowing your focus. What is your end goal? Clearing out all of the other distractions and finding that one thing, that one purpose, that target. The difficult part is at first you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
When you're hunting, you know what you're looking for. But when you're kin seeking, you're not even sure exactly where it's going to be or what it's going to be, how it's going to show up. But eventually, you'll get a knack for it.
And the most recent one, I showed up at a school, and I'm not good at lying. I tried telling him that I lived at the school. They didn't buy it.
I can't imagine they would.
Yeah. But overall, the thank you for the sentence that you did agree to. It meant a lot.
I can see that the world is changing. I can feel it. And like some of the others, we have to adapt. We have to evolve. And if the old way worked, we wouldn't be where we are. Do I think that we need to change as swiftly as we are? Not necessarily, but we have to start somewhere. And Matthias, as unusual as he can be, as off-putting as he can be to our way of life especially, he has means, he has connections, and he has ideals. Reasonable ideals. I think his heart is in the right place. He has a foot in the old and eyes towards the new. And if there's anyone to stick their neck out, he's one bold enough to do it. It allows the rest of us to stay hidden, allows the rest of us to observe and keep our distance, keep watch. And if need be, to back off. But so far, from what I've seen, he hasn't led us astray. I wouldn't call him my alpha by any means, but I'm willing to see it out, to hear him out. So far.
He just talks a lot.
He does. But if you listen closely, there are a few things worth hearing. Don't be afraid to ask questions, though. Always ask questions.
Always do.
Good. Even from you, no question is too meaningless. Or no question is meaningless, I should say.
Okay, I was like, wait.
It's been a long night. It has.
I had a lot of interactions with Silver Fangs of late. There's Aspen, there's Matthias, and then you'll kind of point towards Charles. And that's the dude that's been kicking my ass for the past few months.
Not what I'd expect.
He hits harder than he looks. That don't be fooled by the suit. It's a terrible mistake.
Appearances can be deceiving.
Yeah, he. There was an issue we had with the cult, and we had already done some things earlier that day, and I hadn't done my hunt yet. And so I went out go do that. I left my phone. I was in my lupus form, so I had no idea. Later that night, good old Charles came and found me and pushed a good chunk of my buttons. So him and I had it out. Um, I was holding my own as I always do. But he at one point we got really close, and he had this heat come from like its chest, and it like actually burnt me just being in the embrace itself. And I'd never felt anything that severe before.
It is a very dangerous gift. It is not one typically used in practice, let alone against another Garou. But he looks over towards Charles. He clearly was trying to send a message.
It was graciously received upon pulling me out of the lake because I slipped.
There isn't a correct way. There isn't just one way. If there was only one way for things to be done, there wouldn't be tribes. There wouldn't be moons. Our differences are what make us what we are. We need our differences. I don't know what lesson he was trying to teach you, and I don't need to know. But don't forget that you have value, and the way you do things has value. Gaia picked you for a reason. She didn't pick you to be Charles. She didn't pick you to be me. She chose you because of who you are, because of something that you have to offer. What makes you unique? There is not a specific way to be in a rune. We have a lot to offer and we have a lot to teach, but these are strategies. These are things that we've learned. Traditions, perhaps. But when it comes down to it, you are your own Arun. And in the fight for your life, in the fight for Gaia, you have to trust your instincts. Our traditions, our teachings can only save you so much. You have to trust the gifts you were born with, the instincts you were born with, the craft you've honed yourself. Everything the North Wind has taught you, everything being a lupus born has taught you, because some of the things that you've learned, some of the things that you were born with, Charles and myself will never have had, could never have learned, as we were born human. Do you understand?
Yeah. Just trying to I don't know, be the Arun that the pack needs at whatever given moment. can be a bit challenging. Um, with being lupus born, the understanding what people need right when it happens is hard. But I hear what you're saying about the runes. Now that makes sense. That there's no right way. 'Cause there would only be the one moon.
There's no
No,
right way
that
to be a Garou. The litany was created because without some semblance of order, a society falls apart. The Impergium happens.
yeah, we don't need that.
No, we don't. We need order to a certain degree. But we need our individuality too.
I hear you.
And what brought you here? You are the Arun this pack needs, because it wasn't by chance that you ended up here. You were brought here for a reason. You were summoned here for a reason.
The worm is really strong here, so fight the worm wherever it lies. And man, it is laying really hard here.
And you are very strong.
I try. I've been training my ass off, man.
I believe it.
We remember that one leech I told you about who can like fight during the day?
Yes, Mary.
Yeah. We're getting closer to actually being able to take her on. At least that's the plan anyways. I've been hunting her for a while. I don't want to give a leech credit, but she's smart. She knew where to hide, how to hide, and then how to evade us being able to even like track. I couldn't track her. Like she didn't have a scent. There was nothing. But we're getting there. Um, that this upcoming fight's what I've been training so hard for. The other Arun that was here, Ryder, he fought her 2 or 3 times and lost every time. And he was that guy beat me up too. Actually, all the runes that come through here to take a look at me a couple times. So
You can still give your enemy respect while they are still your enemy. Giving them credit is well earned. They have had lifetimes to learn what they've learned. This Mary, I couldn't even begin to know how old she is, but if she has used that time wisely, perfecting her strategy or her ability, that is worthy of respect. But in the end, she is a monster and must be destroyed. But there is still respect to be given, because if we don't offer that respect, that is offering an advantage to them that they do not deserve. Not giving our prey, our enemies, respect means that we open ourselves up to their strengths. We don't take them seriously. And that's how they beat us. So give her credit. She has survived this long for a reason. If she has beaten back Garou that you consider stronger than you, she deserves that credit. And should be taken very seriously as a very serious threat.
yeah, we're trying to take every precaution we can with her. Really trying to go for not trying to do a one-on-one with her. Try to get the whole pack involved if we can.
So what have you learned from the previous encounters with her?
Uh, she always dictates where the fight's at. She hardly ever shows up alone. She has um not leeches, but like leeches.
Thralls.
That yeah, those. She shows up with those. Tactically, I don't know if she scouts an area out first and then coerces people to go to those areas or what. But if we can dictate where the battle's at, that's going to give us an advantage on a fight against her. Um, Very strong. A straight up fight probably isn't going to bode well. I think numbers are going to be our advantage. It's just, I don't know how many thralls she has at her disposal.
What do you know about this last fight with Ryder? What were the conditions of that conflict?
Uh, they were in the prison, cement walls, uh, small corridor area. Uh, Ryder had his klaive. He was using that against Mary. But at the end of that, Ryder had it part of it lodged into his chest. And the encounter that Grandmother Willow helped me see what other things have happened. She attacked at Karen and just overwhelming force, and that's when Ryder gave chase, and they fought for like 3 days or something like that.
So, from what you've recounted, in both conflicts, they were one-on-one fights.
Right.
That's something to consider in your tactic. If you
We have
take
a
her one-on-one, you will be at a severe disadvantage. Also, if you get in close, it seems, you could be at a severe disadvantage. So perhaps consider weaving attacks in and out.
Okay. We have
They're
two
like
klaive
against a
wielders
bear.
now.
If the pack
Oh.
were to go against a bear.
Multiple angles.
Correct. If you get in close to the bear, if you get within its reach, it's dangerous. But if you can stay just out of reach, alternating attacks from various angles, this could be to your advantage. But this is why it seems that she likely brings all these extra to keep you off balance.
Okay.
If she can pick you off one by one while the others are distracted, whittle down your numbers, that is how she wins. This is why knowing the battlefield is important, keeping you separated. Leading you into positions or situations where she can separate and eliminate you. These are conditions to watch out for going into the conflict.
Right. So need to find a way to attack and defend.
You should always be on the defense to have a good offense.
Right.
Especially if you are walking into her territory. And with leeches, they tend to prefer it that way. They are less likely to be drawn out.
Can't
Like
fault them for
ticks,
that.
they embed themselves. You are the Arun. This is your strategy. Consider these things. She sounds like a bear, but not just a bear. She sounds quick. She sounds intelligent. She doesn't rely just on her brute strength. She does have strategy. And she likely has a secret. Something she hasn't revealed yet. If she hasn't had to use it, or if she has used it, it's likely nobody's survived to reveal it.
Okay. We'll find out the secret, learn a weakness, then exploit it. Just finding the weakness.
That is one thing the leeches take a great deal of pride in, their ability to keep secrets.
Okay. And you gave me a lot to think about.
Don't be afraid to ask for help, Aiden. If you take anything away from this trial, the greatest fault that fell upon this pack, what caused all of this to happen, was being too proud to ask for help, legitimately. You assumed there was no one here to help you. You assumed you were alone. I don't know if it was the words of the Stargazer or the words of Ryder that had made you believe that this place had been abandoned. But your mentors, the people who came to your aid to build that cairn, did so for a reason. We do care. And yes, we have our own fights and our own struggles. It's true. But we are a nation, and we do care. And we are here to help. You just have to ask. We can't help if we don't know that help is needed. We aren't all omniscient or omnipresent. Yes, we work with spirits, but we ourselves are only part spirit.
Spirits are confusing. That's
Very
all
much
they are,
so.
and they're mean, and they call you names, and they do weird riddles, and they expect you to know them.
Most of that is true, but I'm not sure what kind of spirits you're dealing with.
Assholes. All of well, not all of them, but some.
Must be a
It's
Tampa
Florida.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, this place has been mistreated for a while. And I'm not sure that's going to get any easier with recent events, but don't be too proud. And teach that to the others.
I'll try. Teaching it more of like how to hit things or get hit. Good at that.
But you can
But
set an example.
I can do that.
You can lead by example. Suggest asking for help. I will be in town for a few more days. Perhaps I can do a little sightseeing or a little bit of hunting of the local delicacy. I haven't had gator before.
That's a fun hunt.
So while I'm around, perhaps if your alpha is in need of some extra assistance, maybe as a distraction for this upcoming hunt of yours, all she needs to do is ask very convincingly.
I'll talk to her.
I know you will.
But speaking of things to eat, there's a little burger stand about a mile and a half down, maybe further. You're up for a run?
Sounds
and
wonderful.
you pay.
I think I can do that.
Cool.
After this day, it seems only fair.
He'll drop down to Lupus and start taking off.
As the two of you head off looking for something to eat, we transition one last time within the fairgrounds to Lucas. Lucas, before Anna Pelfrey can make her way towards Matthias and Charles, who are about to head off for the evening, you manage to take her aside for a conversation. She stops to regard you, her hair done up still very nicely, her professional attire still just so, but she does agree for a side conversation, stepping off to talk to you. Matthias agreeing to give you space and heading over to his car to climb in, Charles doing the same. Lucas.
Counselor. That was a thing.
Indeed it was.
Kind of surprised that you would come down here for this.
I have to admit, when I was first approached about the whole matter, I wasn't interested. But after conversation with Mr. Morningkill, he had some things to say that piqued my interest.
Yeah, this place has got a real weird thing about pulling people into its orbit that you wouldn't expect to be down here. I mean, I'm sure you were shocked when you heard my name tied to this.
It was unexpected, to be sure, but this place has more than one connection to Chicago.
Sounds like a loaded statement.
Edward Bateman.
How deeply is he tied to the leeches up there?
Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman. The law firm. He's a partner.
Yeah.
I believe he has connections to Horatio Ballard, and I believe I can learn more about those connections.
I guess that answers my next question. Are you going to be sticking around for a while?
I believe there's more to be gained from this arrangement, yes.
Well, okay. Off the record, what are your personal thoughts of what went down here tonight?
She got lucky. She deserves some luck. We all do. These are trying times. They've been trying for a while.
Yeah, we could definitely use a little luck down here.
Certainly. Looking at the conditions of things, I would not doubt it.
Yeah, I kind of walked into that place on the night it was made, not really understanding fully what I was getting myself into. So kind of jumped in both feet, but I never do stuff like that. So yeah, it's a struggle down here, and luck is something we need on our side. I think that she's something different. And I think that's what kept me here. mean, no offense, I look at you. I look at Matthias. I look at the rest of the previous generation. I'm not trying to be offensive here, but I see one way things are done. But I look at her and I listen to her and I see a different way things can be done. And I know Matthias talked about that. And words and silver fangs are not always something that I want to listen to. I think that's the best and kindest way to put that. But I think that she's got some ideas, and I think if she's got the right people backing her, they could pay out.
Mr. Shaw, I don't take offense at all. Those old ideals are what caused me to retreat from Garou politics. I focus primarily on my duties to the Ghost Council, my research into the spirits, into what lies beyond in the Umbra. I stepped away from all of it, especially after everything that happened with you. I did want nothing to do with any of it, especially the greater nation and the direction it was headed. I understand everything you're saying. And those ideals that you believe Aspen has came from somewhere. You have to understand that. You cast a lot of aspersions on Morningkill, and I know a lot of it comes from his name. And believe me, I get it. That name has a wide and vast reputation. When I saw that it was him calling upon me, I bristled. I refused the call. You wouldn't believe how persistent he was. But in the long run, I'm glad that I answered. And I'm glad that I'm here. And I'm glad that I took part in this political affair. Having been out of the game for a while, it was good to stretch some old muscles. And I'm glad that I get to have this conversation with you. I will tell you something, Lucas. I do not regret what I did. But that was then. That was the way it was done. And in that time, I would do it again. But it's not that time. Not anymore. We both have changed and learned from that experience. And we can both move forward from it if we have the desire to do so.
I'll take your word on that, which is a big statement coming from me. Yeah, I've grown. Not much, but yeah. He is persistent, and Aspen does trust him. And I do my very, very best to watch out for the things that she may not see, which I think is kind of my job as both a Ragabash and a Shadow Lord in regards to the pack. So if I don't ever completely trust him or anybody associated with him, I don't mean it in offense. I'm just trying to keep everybody safe.
Understood. As you should. Don't make those shadows longer than they have to be. It's fine to see shadows where there are some, but stretching them, elongating them, or chasing them when you're ordered not to, that is where it becomes trouble.
That's going to be the test.
It is.
Do you still talk to anybody back at the Sept?
I'm still a part of it. I would hope so.
Have you talked to Joy?
She falls silent. Not in some time.
Yeah, that checks, unfortunately.
She took your dismissal very hard.
I mean, I don't know if you know, but even after the dismissal, she took me in and finished my training, but she never even said bye. She just was gone one day, and that's when I hit the road. So, just wondering if she was still around, if she was doing okay, but you know how we are.
Indeed. No, she has not resurfaced.
That's
Not
fair.
since that time.
So you're gonna dig into the leeches, huh?
I believe that there is still business happening in Chicago. The tenuous peace that we have kept, or that they have kept. I've never been fond of it, at the very least. But it has not interfered with my dealings, and therefore I have let it be. I believe there's more to it, as there always is. And I believe that something is disrupting that peace, and it needs to be dealt with. And I believe that if this ties back to Horatio Ballard in some way, if he is still operating in Chicago, then I can possibly find out some information through Edward Bateman. And it just so happens that Edward Bateman is here, and he is making moves of his very own in this city.
I mean, you met with him, so yeah, I believe you.
Indeed.
Okay, well, you know where I'm at. If you need some wet work done, I'm also a fantastic photographer, and
I've heard.
I may have some bit of connections on the less than scrupulous side of the leeches. Not something I'm going to give away at the moment, but you know,
Bit of advice, Lucas. Stop being so emotional.
what?
What would the other
Wait,
Shadow Lords say?
why are you talking to me like I'm some kind of a rune or I'm some kind of Black
What?
Fury? Wow.
We all heard about your little showing at the apartment.
Yeah, that was not.
It was very, very unlike you.
Hey, listen. You're out doing a thing, and then you catch a bunch of people you think have questioning loyalties, shaking hands with leeches, and then I see you. There's a lot of assumptions that can pass through somebody's mind at that point. And I just went to ask some questions, and I got yelled at, and I'm the victim here. I don't know why everybody thinks I'm not the victim here. I'm the victim here. Um, but yeah, you're probably right.
You know what they say about assumptions.
Yeah, you're probably right. So I'm gonna have to face that one sometime soon. That's not gonna be fun, but I got to do it because despite all of that, this is still my pack, and I really don't want them to kick me out.
I'm willing to have a fresh start if you are. There's new business afoot. We are trying to start something here. And I believe you still have a great deal to offer.
Let's both let's both start at 50% and work our way up from there.
Deal.
Deal. Okay. Uh, all right. Well, you be careful, and You can bill me for this. There is 0% chance I'm going to pay you for it, but you can't bill me for this, counselor. So yeah.
Luckily,
Actually,
Mr. Morningkill's been picking up the tab so far. I believe he will continue to do so as long as I am in town.
just bill Aspen. Bill Aspen.
Oh, I've
She
seen that credit report. Trailers? Really?
student loans.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going to work on that too. You have a wonderful night and enjoy Tampa, or it will enjoy you.
Neither will be occurring.
Good. I hope so.
As you part ways, she climbs into the luxury car and drives away. We're going to transition to our final scene of Act 1, which takes place a few days later in a modern apartment. Jester, you've been staying with Charles in this apartment building for the last few weeks now, ever since he found you wandering in the woods and took you in. But what people don't know is he, as a favor to you, has now put up Chloe, your friend, the Ghislaine. So we find ourselves in one of the similar apartments, although this one is much more lived in. Chloe has been staying in this apartment a few floors down and down the hall from Charles's apartment. The apartment, while furnished and a little bit more lived in, has a throw blanket across the couch, has some pictures out and about. There's a nice spread of snacks on the table, and you and Chloe are comfortably on the couch. The TV is on, watching some fun reality show, and the two of you have just enjoyed a nice evening together and are just relaxing after the crazy few weeks you've had, just enjoying each other's company. Chloe, looking over towards you, seeing you distracted, lost in thought, says, "Hey, Jess,
Hey,
what you thinking about?"
Colorado?
"Why, you going skiing?"
No. Um, Thinking of my old sept, really.
Septs, remind me, that's the, not pack, which is the small, like, you and
Mm-hmm.
Aiden and Aspen and Lucas, but it's like the big bunch
Right.
of, okay, right. I need
Yeah. But
flashcards for this. I mean, I can't write it down apparently, but if there was some way to reference it, okay. Anyway, um,
well, hmm.
but Raven and Gibbous, right?
Yeah.
Still bothering you.
She yeah, she questioned whether or not I'm a Black Fury anymore.
She was mad. Can you blame her? I mean, she was mad, but I'm sure, given some time and some space, she, she probably didn't mean it. You've been mad too. We've all said some things that we regret after a few days.
Maybe. But I think she believes that an injustice has been done, and that's probably going to stick for a while. It's kind of our thing.
So what are you going to do about it?
I think I'll write Gibbous a letter. I need to reach out to her anyways.
Saying what?
Apologizing to start with. Offering if there's anything we can do to make up to for it. Same thing I offered Raven.
Why you?
because they're like family to me.
But you didn't do anything.
But my pack did.
And?
I mean,
Jess, I want you to take a minute here, okay? I have watched you take it on the chin over and over and over again. I have watched you mope and cry and drag yourself around more times than I can count. Hell, I watched you do it with me. And you know what? I won't lie. At the beginning, when I was finding out about all this werewolf stuff and having been imprisoned and everything, yeah, I was glad that it happened then, but it's gotta stop. You are a Garou. Not even a werewolf, because as I'm learning, that's like derogatory, but like, you are a proud, powerful warrior of Gaia, right? That's what you're supposed to be. And lately you've been depresso espresso, and I gotta say, like, it doesn't fit you. This isn't who you are. You're apologizing for everyone. You're this wounded puppy that has just been getting kicked by everyone for everything that they're doing. That they are doing. Not even that you are doing. You didn't choose for the Cairn to be sacrificed. You weren't even in your own head at the time. Was it your idea? Sure. But you know, people throw out ideas all the time. Doesn't mean that it was your choice. And yes, you should stand by your pack. I get the pack dynamic. Yes, you were there and you took the licking at the trial. You were there. You showed up. But it's enough of this. It's enough of the apologies and the sad and the moping and the I'm sick of seeing my best friend hurt. At some point, Jess, you gotta stand up and fight. Maybe what she said isn't entirely wrong. You're a Black Fury, and from what I've heard, they're the fighters, and you haven't really been fighting, babe. You've just been getting kicked over and over and over again. And I'm not saying to the level that she said, to the hurting level that she said. But maybe you do need to talk to Gorgon or whoever and get that fire back in you, because right now you're doing a lot more crying than you're doing yelling. You're doing a lot more sitting than you're doing standing. You need to break down some walls, and you need to punch some faces, and you need to rebel, and you need to scream, and you need to chant. Like when the malicious Jester, the protester, died. It's like that side of you did too. And I'm sorry to say this, Justin, it's not to shit on you anymore. And I'm not trying to make it worse. I'm trying to bring you back to life. And I've seen a little bit of it. Whatever Charles is doing, I don't understand it. It's been great. I'm loving the apartment. Please don't tell him I'm saying any of this, because I don't want to be homeless again. I do not want to live in a storage unit. I cannot believe I had to do that for months. But whatever he's doing is working for you, but only a little bit. You need to do the rest. You need to meet him halfway or 75% of the way or whatever, because you are dying and have been, and they are trying to pull you out of this, but you need to kick it up a notch. Get mad, Jess. These people are fucking you over. These vampires and these... even your own friends are kind of fucking you over, Jess. And I don't think they're doing it on purpose, and I don't think it's because they're mean to you, but the people are shitting on you left and right. And you can't take it anymore. You can't. Be a Black Fury. Be a Garou. Be a protester. Stop being sad and be mad. Because you're awesome. You're awesome. And they need to know how awesome you are. That's what you bring to this whole thing. That's your job in this, and you've kind of been slacking on the job.
Just so tired all the time.
I know, babe. I know. The Leon stuff was rough. And the jail stuff was rough. And all this stuff has been so rough. It has. And I don't know if it's ever going to get easier. I really don't. But what other choice do we have?
Fair. How are you holding up?
Better now. Do you see this place?
Yeah.
There's like a Keurig machine in the kitchen.
Oh, he added a Keurig machine?
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a bidet. That's kind of weird, but it's, yeah, like.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's just stuff. But like we make the best of what we have.
Yeah. But
And we take those victories as victories. We stop seeing everything as losses, which is what you've been seeing. I'm doing okay. Why? Because I've got my best friend. Because I've made new friends. Because I'm still alive. I'm not in jail. My life's changed, but some of it's for the better, to be honest. I see the real world for what it is. I'm not living a lie anymore, a lie that I didn't know. I'm actually helping fight the real fight for Earth, not the superficial. I wish I could tell people I really do. That's the hardest part of all this, is I wish I could open more eyes and get more people doing the real stuff, but I know, I understand why we can't, but
yeah.
that's the frustrating part for me. But we do what we can, and we nudge a little bit the right way. We point them towards the real targets gently.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to do without getting you guys too involved. I'd hope.
If we didn't want to do good work, we wouldn't have done it.
I know. It's not my fault. It's Bateman's fault.
Yeah. Bad
The
guys
other
are bad
leeches.
guys. So now you get mad at bad guys. Don't let them hurt you. That's how they win.
Yeah.
I know you're hurting, and I know you're tired, and I will be here to help you rest and to make you laugh and to wipe away your tears. But when you're out there with them, you need to be pissed off, and you need to rip their goddamn heads off. And you need to make them laugh and like make them smile and sing them songs. Because that's what Galliards do. Or so Eliza says. They sing the songs. They stir the spirits. They tell the stories. And this is turning into a crazy ass story, and you're missing it.
You know, as weird as you think he is, he said similar things.
Well, he's not so bad. Kind of bland. in a weird Patrick Bateman American Psycho way, but he's
It's not far off.
I see the way he looks at you. He seems to care about you. He wants you to do good, and he wants you to be okay. And that's something.
You're right.
You need to be okay. You need to be better than okay. They need you. Look at what's happening in your absence. It's falling apart. It is.
Okay.
Stop being sad and get mad. If you have to choose, choose that. That rider in you would agree.
He is.
Eliza got sad and she lost everything. You don't want that.
No.
At least Ryder kept fighting. For good, better, or worse. If you're going to go down a path, maybe that's at least. Maybe don't go that far, but if you had to pick one, at least that one's still doing the fight.
Speaking of that, has Eliza told you about the possible new Karen?
I heard some things, some very unusual things, but not in real detail. She said, I've really just overheard her kind of murmuring some things, a lot in her sleep.
Well, what'd you hear?
She talks to someone or several someones. I don't know. Sometimes in languages I don't understand. But when she does talk, she's explaining or she's asking questions about how it's done, what needs to be done, the ritual, the rite, something about the new moon. She's repeating a mantra. That's part of what I don't understand. She also seems to be saying goodbye to somebody. Like she's never going to see them again. That's the sad one.
Yeah. So the way she's explained it with the new Karen, if we fully open it up to where we have access to all its power and connect to it, we'd be binding ourselves to it forever. As in, when we die, we'll continue to guard that Karen. Supposedly as a tree, so I'd become a tree, which is weird.
What do you mean?
I mean, like there are afterlives, right?
I mean, I guess. I've never been the religious type. I mean, I know you guys talk about spirits, but that's.
Well, so there's a lot of conjecture or argument with Garou of whether or not there are, but I mean, Ryder came back from one, so there are afterlives. Like, there's things to move on beyond this place after we die. But if we open the cairn fully, we'd be binding our souls to it.
Like a
We'd be.
ghost?
No, like a spirit guardian, we'd be fighting forever. Guarding the cairn.
Doesn't that mean you wouldn't get to move on?
Yeah. She's most likely saying goodbye to probably Orion, maybe Blackrock, her son, the Garou she loved. I'm not actually they probably weren't married as much as like the Garou Nation doesn't like stargazers.
Oh. Is that something you want to do?
I don't know. Honestly, like when it was first proposed, I was like, I guess why not? But
That's kind of a
like
big deal.
it is. I mean, I would continue to fight even past dying. So it's not such a bad thing, especially since like feel like Gaia needs as many fighters as or warriors as possible. But I wouldn't see anyone else again. Except for my pack, I suppose. Maybe who's already there guarding things.
After what you told me about that argument with Lucas, I'm not sure that's a great thing.
Right? Also doubting. But Lucas isn't the only one.
Don't you want the fight to end one day? I mean, I know I just told you, like, get mad, but that someday the fight's gotta end, right? I mean,
I
that's the
mean,
just reward, isn't it? Like, that's I'm
supposed to
not
be.
super religious, but like the goal is that at the end of all this you can rest and there's like a reward, you know? That there's peace at the end of it all.
So it's not just really Leon and losing everything that's kind of been bothering me lately. I told you we're losing the war with Gaia, and given the rate of the way we lose things, I'm struggling to keep hope. And I don't know. There's this worry for me about like if there's not enough people to fight and we lose, everything's lost. Even those wonderful afterlives, they're just gone. So maybe if I continue to fight, it gives a better chance.
I want to tell you something about a crazy thing that's helped me with that, because that's like nihilism, right? So
Mhm.
easy to get caught up all in all of it. I kind of went through ebbs and flows of this, especially the more I got into protesting and like researching about the damage that's being done to the planet and nuclear war and all this kind of stuff. It's really easy to fall into the pit of like, what's the point? You know, it all could end any minute now. Like, but what does it matter? You're not going to notice when it does. If it does happen, when it does happen, after that, it's not like you're going to have to be around to deal with it. You're not going to be sad, you're not going to be hurting, you're not going to be suffering through it, or there's not going to be consequences. It's just going to be nothing. So what's there to be afraid of? The fear is the ramifications, the consequences. But there aren't any. So you can dread the idea of it, or you can prolong it and enjoy the time that you're in it without it. You know, you You can be here now in this moment. You can make the changes to try and avoid that thing from happening. You can fight the fight. But if you do lose, if that does happen, then that's just it. You're not going to suffer. You're not going to hurt. It's just going to be over. The great nothingness. It's just done. So why worry? Why worry for something that isn't going to matter? That you're not going to feel? That you're not going to experience? The people I feel bad for are the people who are far enough from the blast that they aren't instantly destroyed. Because the people who are close enough don't even notice. It's just over. They're the lucky ones. So if this war ends, it's just over. So why worry? Just fight to stop that from happening. And don't worry about what'll happen if it does end. Because that's the real end at that point. There's nothing beyond it.
You always were the smart one.
I'm just tired of being scared. I'm tired of being sad. I'm tired of wondering and worrying. And once you have your eyes open to the fact that vampires are real and werewolves are real and God knows what else is out there, it's just kind of like, fuck it. I'm just gonna dive in and really immerse myself in this stuff. Like, I'm listening to everything Eliza has to say and reading everything I can and really embracing it all for what it is, because I'm gonna make the most of whatever this is for as long as I can. Because yeah, maybe this is the end of it all. Maybe we are on the precipice of what she's called the apocalypse. And if that's the case, then live like it is. Not in a destructive, harmful way, not in a bad way. In a good way. In a positive way. Fight the apocalypse, but fight it joyfully.
Joyfully
Yeah.
make the most of what you have.
Yeah. Laugh as you rip their heads off. I would. Not in a maniacal laugh, but like a, I'm doing good. That's one less thing that's bringing the apocalypse about. Be the Jester.
So I've heard some things or been online for some discussions about nihilism and such. And really, one of the things I've taken away from it before is if nothing matters, what you do matters.
Everything you do matters. And you not doing has mattered. So stop not doing.
It's not, I mean, I've kind of been doing something lately. I've been going to parks and cleaning them up.
I know. That's good. But we need more.
Fine.
They need more. They need you, Jess. They really do. I can see it. It's weighing on them. They're starting to drag. They're starting to turn on each other. You're part of it, you know.
Well, they seem pretty together at the trial. I was the one with the dissenting voice.
What is it you said that Charles said? Appearances can be deceiving?
True. True.
You can't
I'll try.
have these issues if Mary is as bad as it seems.
Fair.
And the spirits, that's a whole problem that needs to get fixed right quick before this fight.
I don't know how to fix that.
They like songs.
Maybe.
They like
True.
jokes. They like joy.
Okay. Okay.
What you put out into the universe is what you get in return. I know you got a lot of sadness in you. I know. And it's all understandable. But use it for something else. Turn it into something else. At least for now.
Okay. What do you want to do with all this knowledge that you're getting? Like, what do you want to do? I don't want you, like, stuck here just, like following us blindly because you're Ghislaine and we're Garou. I don't think that's fair.
I'm
Like, you
not
have.
following you blindly. I'm doing what I need to do. This talk, this night, this is what I'm doing. I told you that I would follow you wherever you went, and I'm doing it. I'm serving you. That's what the Ghislaine or I guess they called them kinfolk of old did.
I don't like that word.
Well, fine. Let's not call it serving. I'm supporting you.
Okay, better.
And I will support you. I know I don't have the powers and of it all, but there are other ways I can help. I can go places you can't go. I can do things that you can't necessarily do. And, get by undetected. Maybe not lose my temper as easily.
Fair, fair.
And I'm just here to talk, to listen, to learn, and to give you another perspective.
I could use that a lot.
As for the cairn, I don't want to fight forever. I don't even know if that's an option for what I am. But I gotta tell you, honestly, Jess, and I don't want to make this decision harder for you, but I'm gonna tell you now because I need you to know that even if it was, I couldn't do it. Because I need it to end one day. and not end to end. But I do want to see my family again. And the friends we sent away, I do want to see them again. And I don't judge you. This is your calling. And I'm glad that I get to be beside you during it. And I will be beside you as long as I can be. But when my fight's over, I want it to be done.
I get it.
If
I'll lay
there
my
is an
hat.
afterlife, I want to see it.
I think there's lots of them. Lay my head on her shoulder. I don't know, really. Like I said, there's a bunch of people that have different ideas on it. I get it, though. And I'm not even sure what I want to do. I only have, what, a few more weeks, maybe a month to decide?
Yeah, that's not a lot of time. But
No.
I don't blame you. I don't fault you, and I don't judge you. If you pick it, if you don't pick it, I'm here with you no matter what you decide. And like I said, this isn't to make your decision harder or to add more sadness to your plate after all that rah get angry. But I just, when it is time, I want it to be time. That's all. And I hope it's like, 60 years from now, ideally. But it's just, life is special because it is short. And the thought of being more than that, doing this forever, is exhausting.
I know.
And if we're doing it good, then yeah, it will be forever because we're going to be winning.
Hmm. Well, either way, I think I will take your advice and we'll make the most of what we have.
Good, I hope so. You are important. You are great. And you are hilarious.
How could I go wrong without a cheerleader like you? Or with a cheerleader like you?
I don't know.
Like,
You're the one who sent me to jail.
no. We agreed that was Bateman that sent you to jail,
Yeah.
and
That's-
he's going to pay for it.
Yes, he is. And you're going to make sure of that.
Definitely.
As two friends embrace and settle in to enjoy the rest of their evening watching a movie, this is where we go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Act 2 of tonight's story. See you shortly. are back. In the first half, we saw the fallout of the trial of Aspen Weiss. Jester had a rather rough altercation with Ravenclaw, her Black Fury mentor from Colorado. Aiden may have found an ally for the upcoming battle with Bloody Mary in his mentor from out in Washington. Lucas had a light mending of fences with Anna Pelfrey from Chicago, and Jester may have been able to turn her sadness into anger after speaking and having some one-on-one time with her best friend Chloe. But now, in the second half, Lucas gets a little appointment of his own with Matthias Morningkill, the Silver Fang heir, potentially, of the Garou Nation, the would-be king of this new nation, or so it may seem. So, Lucas, after making an appointment, I suppose, putting in a call, you are given the address to a rather fancy hotel out by the airport. This is a place where a lot of executives, big business people, maybe even foreign dignitaries or, government officials would stay when they come into the area. It's very close for travel, but it's a big, international plaza that you find yourself going to. High-rise hotels, but very, very close to the airport, close to the bridge that goes over to the St. Petersburg area, very, very close to the bay and the water. But you do find yourself pulling your truck into a valeted parking lot right out front of this hotel. What's going through your mind before this meeting?
Lucas is thinking about his conversation with Anna. He's thinking about other things other people have said. He's thinking about what Aspen has said about Matthias, and he's especially thinking about what Matthias said during the trial. He's not sure if he believes what he said. He thinks it could be just political bluster or just the musings of an idealist. So he is coming to figure that out for himself.
Okay. So as you head into the lobby of the hotel, you weren't given a room number, just the address of the hotel. But as you enter into the lobby, lo and behold, in the hotel, platinum blonde hair and all, stands Charles, waiting in the lobby. He waits, sitting on one of the chairs, one of these overstuffed, kind of high-backed chairs. But as you enter in through the sliding doors, he stands up, kind of straightening the front of his suit jacket. Lucas.
Charles, I am relatively underdressed for this. I wish you would have let me know.
Best to come as you are, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we're by the airport, so, it can't be that good.
He's ready for you.
Sure he is.
Turns and makes his way over to the elevators, and as the elevator arrives, he steps in and pushes a button for one of the upper floors. As the elevator starts riding up, I know what you're here for.
What's that?
Same reason you came to visit me the first time.
Let's just say this. Me and Jester may have had it out pretty hard that night, but, that's not an unusual thing for me. But I'll say this. If Jester trusts you, then I'll start to trust you. And if you give me my word, or give me your word that that's what was going on, that's where I'll start from.
Lucas, I said the first time.
Oh, that one. Sorry, I've just been rolling that one around in my head for a few days. Don't feel too happy about it, so it's fresh in there. Okay.
But I do appreciate that. And I do give you my word. That is all it was. Jester. Jester has as little involvement or knowledge in the activities that have been happening as you do. Her presence in my home is just as a concerned Garou to another about her state, her slow descent into Hirano. I wish to see that avoided.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. We can't lose that one. Not like we did before.
Agreed. I know Aspen is busy, and I know that neither of us is particularly good at this sort of thing, but if I can give her a distraction, a place that she can sort out her thoughts, something else to focus on, and a way to heal, that's all I wish for her. I give you my word on that, and my word does mean something.
Based on recent events going forward, I'm going to put more stock into that, as I think we all should. So, I will say this, Charles. You take this how you want, but I'm glad a pack member got in the last word at the trial.
That was an awkward car ride on the way home, I assure you that.
Yeah. I mean that, whether you think it or not. You don't get out of this shit that easy, trust me.
Before you go into this meeting, and you take this as you will, I have never worked with somebody I didn't believe in.
That's fair.
The elevator opens. He walks you down a long, nicely carpeted hallway to the end of the hall. He knocks on the door, and after a moment, it opens. And you are walked into a very, very, very nice hotel room. There is a small sitting area. There is obviously a suite where there's bedrooms behind glass doors. And you can actually see there are multiple bedrooms, one off to one side where you can guess Anna Pelfrey's been staying, and one off to another side where most likely Matthias has been staying. But at this present moment, it is just Matthias in the room currently. And at this small, round cafe table, there are two chairs. And Matthias is seated at one. His dark black hair and nicely trimmed beard. A very, very nice cut suit. And he is sitting, legs crossed, reading the newspaper, but he folds it up and places it down as you arrive, standing up and extending a hand out in your direction. Lucas, good to see you.
Matthias, it's good to see you. I'm glad you took my meeting.
As am I. Please, have a seat.
I'll have a seat.
Do you wish Charles to stay or go? Whatever's comfortable with you.
You know, if he's got other stuff he wants to do, this isn't. I don't think this is going to be as serious as him lording over me this whole time. He does that. He looms. He's a loomer.
Charles? Do you have anything else you'd rather be doing? I'll wait outside. Very good. Charles gives you one last look, then nods his head and makes his way out. So, Lucas, what can I do for you? I said at the trial that I would answer any questions anyone had, and it didn't seem like afterwards the right setting to have those types of conversations, especially after the shattering glass and screeching tires of certain individuals leaving, but how can I help?
What are we if not creatures of intense passion, right? Especially those Black Furies. Yeah, I listened to you very, very, very carefully. It's something that I think I pride myself on is I listen to what people say. Probably more so than I watch what they do, because I think that people say a lot of things and mean about 50% of it. So I just wanted to gauge how much of that you really meant.
And you didn't believe that you could do that with Aspen present.
Aspen. That was all about her. And I think that she probably needs a little time to decompress over the other night's events. And me and Aspen have a special relationship. I'm not necessarily her counsel, but pragmatically, when it comes to a lot of things, she does ask me the right questions. And when she did ask me the questions about the cairn, I already had it in my mind to give her the advice that she took. So probably best not to rehash all that stuff all over again with her here. And besides, Shadow Lord in the room with two silver fangs, that just doesn't seem fair.
Fair enough. So, what 50% of what I said don't you believe?
Haven't quite sussed that out yet, which is one of the reasons why I'm here. But let's start with this. How much of building this new nation is something that you're really looking to do?
How much?
I mean, we can't rip up the Constitution and form a new republic. Something has to carry over. Something has to. Tradition's important.
A valid point. Well, I don't believe that the new nation can be built overnight. It's true. Which is why I thought it was important to include members of the old nation, not to make a decision simply based off of my own instincts on this matter. Because there were many offended parties. I knew Ravenclaw would be upset with this. I understood that, but her voice needed to be heard. Her offense needed to be known. Unfortunately, I don't believe that she will take kindly to what happened last time we met. She will be quite upset about this for some time, and I don't expect to be receiving any of her assistance moving forward, at least for a while, until she believes that she has been satisfied in this matter. She will probably likely be more of a problem than an asset. I understand this. The litany must be what it is. It must exist. It must continue to exist. But our interpretations of the litany must change. We must have discussions more openly amongst the tribes as to how it should be interpreted. Before, it was one interpretation to rule all, and usually it was the interpretation of whoever was in charge at the time, most often my tribe.
Well aware of that, yes.
I'm sure you are. But it can't stand that way. We know what happens when one stands atop all. One cannot stand atop all. That is too much weight for one to carry. And when one crumbles atop, all fall beneath, or they start fighting over who the next should take control. And
Lines
we
of
can't
succession.
have that. Right.
Yeah. Though, believe me, as a Shadow Lord, that is something we're intimately familiar with. Is what happens when leaders fail.
Now, I don't
Um,
even have rights to the throne. I'm not near the top of the rights of lineage as the royals would have it. And I don't have any means to be. I don't desire it. Believe me, it's the last thing I want. That's just putting a target on your head. But I do believe in stability. I do believe in strength. And I do believe we need order and structure. And I do believe there are assets that I bring to the table and knowledge that I have that can help, but I don't seek to rule. Never have, never will. I have control of my sept out west, as I was taught to by my tribe, by my patron. But that's the old way. I'm taking the knowledge I have and I'm using it for good in this new endeavor. I'm taking what I've taught Aspen, as well as some of the new ideals I've instilled in her, to bring about change. But it is a gradual process. And Tampa is a perfect opportunity to show others what can be done without forcing it upon them. If we can make it work here, perhaps others will follow. Perhaps others will take notice and start to adopt some of the ideals that have been shown here. But they are hesitant. I have reached out to other septs to try and get aid for this sept. Some have begrudgingly taken notice. Others have come willingly. As you can see, those that came and attended the trial, they have interest. And I have a sept up north that I am going out to speak to in the coming months, that I may be able to bring some assistance back to Tampa to offer aid. I am in negotiations with them now.
we could use it.
I agree. I know
Okay.
your plight. I am well aware, and I am not here to cause more difficulties for you. Far from it.
Okay. All right. We'll put that in the category of not bullshit because that's more or less what Aspen says and more or less what I think too. So this is a good start. You need to drum up support. We both know that. You need to making an example would have been a really bad course of action. So I understand the results politically of the trial, regardless of where morals or anything sat. But I'm not a political person. I'm not a Galliard. You need to go to Jester for those things. But what you do need is a success story. You need a flag, a banner. You need a win.
I agree.
And you got to put somebody on that poster. You got to put somebody on that flag.
I had my hopes on Aspen, and I still do. Unfortunately, this Karen issue was a setback. But I still do believe in her. And that is why I believe this damage can be undone. But this was a setback. So it's going to take some time to recover. But I have not given up hope. and I will not give up hope. She is my protege for a reason. But this was a setback, and that's why we needed to do what we did. We needed to bring her up on charges. We needed to have a trial, and she needed to be faced with her wrongs. And she does need to pay Chiminich.
I don't disagree with that. But what do you think appeals more to the majority of the nation? And saying that the majority of the nation is your younger, impressionable Garous, a success story, somebody that screwed up and is now coming back on top of their game. I think it does. And I think that's the story we need to tell everybody, that hey, look at how bad it was down here, but now look what's happening.
Certainly. And that the way to make that easier is to make sure that the transition of the small things that go unnoticed don't stand in the way, which is what I've been trying to do. The things that could become stumbling blocks if not handled appropriately, the things that could cause problems in the future that make that success story less successful, are cleared from the path. The things that Aspen, even with all her knowledge and training, may not account for. The things that I learned in my youth and leadership, the things I didn't account for. I am trying to account for her. Now, to be fair, I could have been more forthcoming. It's true. But she already has enough on her plate. And that wasn't my decision to make, but I made it regardless. Perhaps in my arrogance. I will admit to it. I am still a Silverfang. I don't deny it. But this transition is going to be difficult. Tampa and the leeches are rooted deep. Very deep. Anna Pelfrey, for example, knows that those roots run all the way to Chicago. And when they are ripped out, they will be felt even there.
Yeah, that's a place you don't want to piss off.
No. Some say it's one of their grand seats of power.
Yeah, that son of a bitch Jackson, he's the worst of them. Okay. That's a bridge we'll burn later, but okay, so I don't disagree. There are going to be roadblocks. There are roadblocks. But I don't, let me put it this way. There are going to be certain roadblocks you don't want to get your hands dirty with.
Agreed.
Okay. There's definitely roadblocks that we don't want Aspen to get her hand dirty with.
Isn't it fortuitous that she has a Shadow Lord?
Good. Then we're speaking the same language. What I'm asking here is that some things may not need to come to her attention.
I understand that. It doesn't help when somebody comes yelling about those things in her ear, thinking that there is some malicious intent taking place.
But I'm still a Shadow Lord, much like you said you're still a Silverfang. So if I see what I believe is a conspiracy, I get a little edgy on things.
Understood.
Okay, so we'll put that to rest. All right, good. We have an understanding there. If you need things done that she probably shouldn't know about, then just, you know how to get a hold of me.
I have made clear to Aspen that there is nothing she doesn't need to know about. I will double my efforts to ensure her that if she wants to know anything, she needs merely ask, and I will tell her.
Okay.
We are going to iron out the wrinkles in communication that have happened recently to ensure that we do not have these issues going forward. I would not wish to have her think that I am working to usurp any kind of power from her or take advantage of her. That is not my intent here. It never has been. I am perfectly comfortable out west with what I have. I do not need more. In fact, it would be stretching myself in far too thin to try and invest out here. It's a pointless endeavor. It would be meaningless to try and protect. Instead, I would rather give her something that she can protect, that she can invest in, and that she can serve and hold and keep for the future of us all.
Okay. Then I will continue to gently direct what I can towards that goal. Okay, the last thing that deeply concerns me, and this is not me being overly paranoid. Charles said something during the trial that raised the hair on the back of my neck. An old story. He brought up the silver crown.
Indeed.
And I know that that's something that's very deeply tied to you and your people. But it has a very, very different story and meaning to us.
Understood.
Because while it is a symbol of authority, and it is a symbol of leadership, it's also a symbol of control and loss of agency and domination.
Of course. And it is not a symbol I would see returned. It is just something to learn from, a thing of the past. It is a symbol of the past and should remain in the past. The lesson to be taken away from that story is that while he had the ability to use it, he refused it. While he had the ability to subjugate, he chose not to. That is the lesson.
The Shadow Lords say different, but
I understand. That is the story I am trying to tell. Regardless of the interpretations, I am not looking to see the Silver Crown returned into prominence or heralded as what we are looking to bring about. The lesson I'm trying to show here is that power is not something to be wielded. It is something to be used with benevolence. It is something to be shared amongst the people and for the people, not against the people, against the Garou.
power's a funny thing.
Indeed.
But that people start talking about that thing and it gets ideas in people's heads, and you never know when it comes to something like that how people are going to react and what they're going to do to try to get their hands on something like that. So
True, but I'm glad
it's
that
concerning.
Charles brought up how how our predecessor chose punishment upon himself versus his kin. That was a very bold move, and I wouldn't say it to him because watching him squirm isn't something I particularly enjoy. He does that to himself. But he's right. If we have a leader who shows no love for their people, why would we follow them? That was one of the most profound points that night, and that is what I think won a good amount of the council over. We need our leaders to set an example, not just on the battlefield. And that is one of the things that drew me to Aspen, was her passion in everything that she does, from the courtroom, in every aspect of her life. She resisted being a Garou with every fiber of her being, but now she embraces it. with that same fire, that same passion. And I believe that she could be one of the greatest if given all of the support necessary. I do not see her as a queen, but I do see her as a champion. And I hope she sees herself as that one day.
What did you buy from Bateman?
I bought that factory, the shipping and receiving factory. It seems that
Really?
they are liquidating the properties.
I'm not a financial person. This is your guys' game is not my game, but I'm not dumb either. And just estimating what could possibly go in and out of there constantly. You're looking at what, probably a few thousand shipping containers a month
Indeed.
at about probably 2 to 5K a pop. That's a few $100 million shifting around every quarter.
Yes. But also, it's an advantageous position towards the refineries next door. And I know you know who owns one of those refineries.
Intimate relationship with them, along with a few other people in the pack, as it seems. More importantly to me and to advantageous positions, say I wanted to utilize a few of those shipping containers every few months or so.
It belongs to your sept, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. I've got a little endeavor of my own that I'm going to start on. You take the high road, I'll take the low road. We'll leave it at that.
As long as your sept leader understands, I understand.
I have carte blanche, so.
Then we have an understanding.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to piss people off doing it too. You know that, right?
I do.
Okay. It's going to be great.
I will tell you this. They are scrambling. There is a shift of power happening. Bateman wasn't the one I was supposed to meet with. There was another individual that was supposed to be the owner of that particular property. Something changed. Bateman was a last-minute replacement. Something shifted. There is a shift in power happening. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping to find out more. But this sudden change in assets tells me that there is something amiss. That meeting with Bateman was as much a surprise to me as it was to you.
Oh, yeah, it's a big surprise to me.
Indeed. But
And
I did not look a gift horse in the mouth, as they say.
now that I've given it more thought, I can see where you're coming from there. I may have been rash. Also, concerningly so, the ship that Bloody Mary is known to occupy is no longer making port there either.
Well, in acquiring the company, I acquired a good deal of its resources. Perhaps if you have anyone that's particularly skilled in talking to spirits or electronics, maybe they can find out any of the manifests or radio transmissions that have come to or from that particular facility. Or any dealings that have happened there in the past.
I think we could dig around and find something. With your permission, of course.
My resources are at your disposal,
Mm.
especially if it is going to help in this transition of power.
I gotta change my pants when a Silverfang tells me that. Oh Lord, All right.
I am not here to stand in your way, Lucas, as long as it is to help support Aspen and her ascension and her securing of this area.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I can work with this.
There is one more condition, however.
Mm.
I know your reputation. And I have been fine with it because I believe everyone deserves a fresh start in this new nation. I said so. But if you are told to stay by her, you stay. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've pieced that one together myself, and I leave the kinseeking to Aiden. I know where I'm not wanted. It's fine, but yes. If I stay, if she says stay, I stay. If she says stand down, I stand down. I get it.
Then we have an understanding. I will not bring it up again.
No, it's fair.
Very good.
Okay.
Please feel free to come to me or contact me with any questions, but I think you can rely on Aspen to do the communications on your behalf. I wouldn't have her thinking you're going around her or doing anything to undermine her or her authority.
I don't know if she would be mad or if she would just laugh about that at this point, but yeah, out of respect. Unless I have to. If I have to, I will. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
If you have to, you have to.
Have a good night, and I don't know, get Charles a hobby, please. He's so tightly wound, and that's saying a lot for a Silverfang. Please get him something, please.
Well, if my observations are as sharp as they have been, he seems to have adopted a bit of a hobby of his own.
That's not one I want to think about. That one just weirds me out. So we're just gonna not talk about that at this point. I need
Oh,
to
it's
confront that.
cute. Let the boy enjoy himself. He's been wound far too tight most of his life, despite my best wishes.
Could they be any more farther apart? It's whatever. I'm gonna let that one go. But yeah. Something besides that too, because he'll just get on her nerves.
But won't it be fun to watch the fallout?
You sure you're not a ragabash? Oh Lord. And then he'll stand up.
Take care of yourself. And
I will
mean that sincerely.
I will try. I'm probably the worst out of all of them at it, but I will try. And you got to timeshare this place. This is fantastic.
I'll consider it. With that, you make your way towards the hotel room door, and as you do, it opens as you're approaching the door, and Charles is standing. He walks you to the elevator, but he doesn't go down the elevator with you. He lets you ride the elevator down alone. As you're heading down, what are your thoughts? What's going through your head as you go down the elevator, heading back towards your truck? Considering, or at least in contrast to what you were thinking when you arrived.
One of the hardest things, strangely, for Lucas to have in his mind is optimism. He's not an optimistic person. He doesn't see optimism a lot, but there might just be a little tiny spark of it starting to grow in him. And we will see if that makes him better or worse.
Okay. We transition now to a few days later. It's getting late in December. The year is starting to come to a close. Aiden, you've been training with Charles, getting prepared for this battle, but now, with these thoughts from your mentor, from Duncan, in your head of be your own Arun. That there's no correct way. There's no specific way to be an Arun. You found yourself a little bit more distracted in this particular training session with Charles. And as you are going to block an attack, you slip ever so slightly and get clocked, knocking you off your block, sending you sprawling onto the ground. Charles pauses and kind of looks towards you with a furrowed brow. You're distracted.
Yeah, it's off your new manicure. Good job.
What's wrong?
Push himself up. Recent events, I guess. Oh, that hurt. The whole trial thing. The first real conversation you and I had is replaying through my head, and then a most recent one with my mentor is
You mean when I
conflicting
almost
with-
killed you?
Yeah, that.
Oh, right.
You're lucky it was muddy. Yeah. But you gave me an ultimatum. That if I mess up again, you'll take my spot. Which that curved me a little bit. That straightened me out. But when it comes down to it, I was picked to be the Arun here, not you. And all your teachings have been very helpful. I have become a much more focused fighter because of you. But the person I am is still me and not what you make me. So the soldier kind of thing, sorry, man, I don't know if I can keep that up anymore. It's not me. I put you up on like this hilltop of something I wanted to strive for, but that's you. I have my own hill that I live on. And I need to kind of get back to my hill. We can both be Aruns here. You can be that soldier. You can be the Arun that you are. Trying to carve myself into a slab that you're already filling, there's not enough space.
Charles kind of furrows his brow, and his mouth is set into a hard line. But then you start to hear this like soft rumble coming from deep within his chest. And for the first time since you've met him, he laughs. A genuine laugh. I think that's the smartest thing I've heard you say.
Thanks.
You should never strive to be me, Aiden. Ever.
Then why beat me so bad and all the time saying,
Oh,
Get
you
to this,
should
get to
be
this.
a very skilled fighter, the best fighter you can be. And I meant what I said, that you should be at your alpha's beck and call. I meant that. But you should never stop being you. I never got to be me. It's true. This is what I was born to be. This is what I was made to be. I was crafted into this. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone.
Then break free from the mold.
I don't hate it, Aiden. I just wouldn't wish it on anyone. I've accepted it, and it's not a terrible life. I had to sacrifice a great deal. And I'm learning a lot now. I'm seeing and feeling things that I didn't expect to have the opportunity to.
Like what?
Emotions.
Oh yeah, those are hard.
Agreed. You have to have something to fight for, or else the fight is meaningless. I have had a legacy to fight for. You have family, friends, home. Don't ever lose sight of that. And especially if these are your final days. Especially then, though I refuse still to believe it. Don't live them as a soldier. Fight like a soldier, but don't live like a soldier, and don't die like a soldier. The fact that you've broken free of that belief means that there's nothing else I have to teach you. We can spar, we can train, we can fight. I enjoy fighting with you. It's an actual challenge. It's a rare thing these days.
I'm glad I provide that for you.
You do. But that was the lesson. You needed to get better at fighting, and you have. And you did need to learn some discipline, and you have. But you are your own Garou. And you need to keep whatever fire it is that keeps you fighting. And you have. And I'm glad that you noticed that and remembered that. And don't be like me. It's very lonely. And it's taken some recent events to understand that.
You know you're not alone though.
I'm
I know you're
realizing that.
Whole standoffish thing, tough guy stuff. It works for you. It really does.
When you
Man,
don't
if you
have
opened up a little bit,
attachments, it's hard for others to find weaknesses. But I understand the value in those attachments as well. I'm starting to.
You're getting
Maybe it's
attached
something
to
you're
Tampa.
teaching me.
I'm teaching you.
Believe it or not, yes. We always learn something from our opponent, even the ones that we despise. And I don't despise you. I actually quite like you. Although
Okay.
I'm holding you to the same secrecy you hold me. You don't tell this to anyone.
No, that stays between us. I'm a hugger. I don't think you are, but most of the time when moments like this happen, hugs happen.
I will try.
Bring it here, little blondie. Let's do it.
Never call me that again, or I'm actually using the silver claws. As you go in for a hug, it is rigid and uncomfortable, but he definitely tries. And that's all you can ask from it. He is like stiff as a board, but he does give you like the back pat.
We'll work on it. You know what? You keep teaching me. I'll teach you how to do a better hug than a 2x4.
I'm glad that we met. And I know that you will make the right choice if that choice is to be made. But I assure you, so will I.
Thank you. It's when the day comes and that moment arises,
If
if it ends up coming to that, I know that they'll be in good hands if that does happen. You're almost as protective as I am in a different way.
I've had someone set a good example for me.
I got one question. At the trial, you sat quietly through all of it till the very end. Why did you speak up then?
I was raised in the old nation. My place was always to be seen, but not heard. A soldier, a guardian, a champion. Potentially one day an heir, but it was never going to be mine. Never something that I had any ambition for. I just wanted to serve my nation as a soldier, a dutiful soldier. I was conflicted. What she did was wrong. I do believe that. Her decision was wrong. But her reasoning was right. How do you decide between those two things? I could not stay silent any longer. I could not say nothing. Not when they're not when there was something that needed to be said. When I thought back to my grandfather, when I thought back to the stories I had been taught my whole life, that moment stood out in crystal clarity as I watched this trial unfold. Could have been foolish, but maybe it was, but
I don't think it was foolish. You you stood up for something you believed in. Maybe we are rubbing off on you a little bit. You stood up against Matthias of all people. Like the look he gave you. Oh my god.
oh, he has reminded me several times since then, don't worry. Usually with
I
a
bet.
gentle jape or a look.
I got that look once. I was sleeping, and apparently I was in his way. He had to step over me. I was like, my bad. So I get it. Same thing.
He's a good
But
man.
you're, uh, yeah.
He is. He's he respects Aspen. That I can say with all certainty. And he believes in her.
No, that's fair. He does treat her with a lot of respect, and out of the ones speaking, he wasn't the one that I wanted to rip the throat out of. So
That is going to be interesting.
yeah, but we cross the bridges as they come, instead of.
Indeed.
But your grandfather. Explain that to me.
That is complicated. Some believe that being Garou is hereditary. And in certain lineages, it was. At least that was the belief. In my family, it was. And we are keeping secrecy, yes?
Of course.
My grandfather, King Albrecht, is one of the last of my line until me. For some reason, the gift stopped passing on. The line is breaking. But the family hasn't stopped trying. That's why there's a great deal of pressure on me. That's the simplest way I can put it.
So you're telling me you're royalty?
In a sense.
I'll bow next time, my lord.
So please do not. It's not the way it's going to work anymore. Hopefully.
No, I wouldn't bow to you, even if you did have a nice shiny crown.
I could make you.
Oh, that'd be the only way you'd do it.
Gives a small smile. Regardless. Be you. But fight like you're me.
I'll give it a shot. And did you do something for me?
Sure. I'm
Maybe
already doing a
10%.
rather big thing for you, I hope you know.
Just a little thing. 10% of your day, do something you want to do. Something, no, tap in the chest. Charles wants to do. Not what the nation needs Charles to do or what your uncle tells you to do. Go do something you want to do. If you want to go down to the beach and throw rocks at those pesky little flying white birds, do that. Or chase them. That's good too. Or if you want to just go
Seagulls.
down to the pier. Yeah, whatever you want to call them. They poop everywhere and they're annoying. But do something you want to do. 10% of the day.
I'll consider it.
I still owe you for that cheap shot when I was off daydreaming. So
And let's get back to it, shall we?
you got it.
You return to sparring, some newfound respect, and as you get back into it, you feel a lot more comfortable, because while you might fight like Charles, you feel like Aiden once more. We transition to the end of the year, New Year's Eve, the last day of 2024. Jester, you were given a very interesting invitation. Charles asked if you'd be willing to do a job for Matthias. Just a little bodyguard work, as Matthias was going about one of his particular duties, one of his errands while he was in town. Wasn't going to be anything too intense. They just needed your eyes, your ears, and your winning personality to blend in, as he was going to be hosting a New Year's Eve soiree. Something to announce that Morning Kill Industries was in town and that they were going to be making a bit of a splash in the corporate world. So, with Charles as your escort, you were bought a very, very lovely gown to adorn yourself in, but something that would be just flexible enough that if you needed to move quickly or needed to act suddenly, you could do so at a moment's notice. Why don't you go ahead and describe the gown that you will be wearing this particular evening, New Year's Eve?
Okay, so the gown is one shoulder, kind of like toga style at the top. It's black with a slit up the left side, the same side that's missing the sleeve. It is a kind of like there's no sleeve on this side obviously either. And across the black, a branches of a silver tree cover the breast part from the side.
Okay. So as you arrive to the venue, Charles is wearing a tuxedo, done up very nicely. You get to the venue before Matthias does, who is expected to show up fashionably late, but as you scout out, it seems like he's rented the ballroom of the hotel he's been staying at near the airport. When you arrive, there are catering and waiters moving about the area. You can see that there is a dance floor and several tables laid out with white fabric tablecloths, fancy china laid out on all the tables. And Charles kind of gives you an idea of the layout of the facility and where you're going to be taking up positions or where you're expected to kind of keep eyes on things, but he's expecting nothing to be too out of sorts. But he does tell you and give you the reconnaissance of the area, pointing out the entry and exit points as a good guard would do. You kind of roll your eyes at the whole thing about how precise he's being about the whole endeavor, but you can tell that he's being particularly paranoid about this. But as he finishes explaining, he looks to you. Do you understand?
Sir, yes, sir.
All right, I get it. It's New Year's Eve. Maybe I'm going a little overboard.
No, I mean, maybe not. This does beat eating a gallon of ice cream at home, so
Well, you've been through a lot, and I figured a night out would do you well. But it is also work. You should keep your eyes peeled, and with Matthias, you never know.
right. I will be calling on Ryder also because Ryder was in the military, so he should have some good skills in reconnaissance, so
Okay.
made the minimum 2 successes, so I'll get an extra die to what? What skill's best for that?
Probably awareness.
Okay, cool. An awareness.
Okay.
+1 to awareness for the night of the scene.
So as you call upon your ancestors, summoning up the spirit of Ryder from within, you feel him kind of crawl into the back of your head. Party, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This is a little too fancy for my liking.
Yeah, well, you know.
You gonna have a couple extra drinks before this whole shindig gets started?
I thought we were on a job. Did you have drinks when you were on a job?
Always.
Maybe.
This isn't Iraq, okay? I think you can have a couple of shots.
Maybe. How about a glass of what? What's expensive champagne? Wine?
Gross. Is that all they have?
How about this? We enjoy that, and then later we'll have an old fashioned.
Deal. So as you go have a drink and kind of settle in, guests start arriving. As it gets closer to about 10, 11 o'clock at night, people start filtering in. It's one of those affairs where people are really getting there later in the evening, closer to midnight for the ball drop. The party's going to actually start to pick up after midnight. Other people are visiting other big fancy parties before they come to this one. But as people start to filter in around 11 o'clock, Matthias arrives. And he comes over, greeting both you and Charles. And as Charles is kind of rigidly starting to take guard, Matthias looks to him and says, Charles, relax, it's a party. I know you're here doing a job, but really, I just wanted you to have a night out with your friend. And he looks to you. Jester, you look lovely.
Well, thank you. You look nice too. Very snazzy.
Well, thank you. It should be quite an interesting evening. Please enjoy yourself. I have so many people to say hello to.
Of course.
He makes his way off into the crowd, greeting people, shaking hands, and after a while you see Anna Pelfrey joins him, and she's dressed very professionally, not in any fancy gown or anything, but she is spruced up for the occasion as she seems to be sticking near him, escorting him through the venue. The evening carries on, and after a while, Charles kind of just sticks near the wall, very much like a wallflower, and you can tell that he's starting to stand out like a sore thumb as he doesn't seem to blend in.
I'll thread one of my arms through his elbow. Come on. Let's go mingle.
Mingle?
Come on. You look weird.
How so?
You're standing out, just standing there looking uncomfortable.
Oh,
I'll talk for us.
all right. Go ahead and give me a charisma and performance, or charisma and streetwise, or any kind of charisma roll, perhaps manipulation roll, to just kind of make your way through the crowd to try and blend in a little bit more.
Okay. Quick question, I guess. So if I'm using performance, is it possible to... No, I'm not going to go for it. I'm just going to
Yeah.
stick with what I got. Yeah. Because I'll probably be spending the time more like, talk about yourself, please. I don't need you to ask me about what I'm doing with
You
my
could do
life right now.
charisma and insight if you wanted to try and like gather information about the crowd.
I could do that. Why not? I'll spend a willpower. That is 4 successes.
Okay. So as you're talking and kind of getting to know individuals in the room, you start digging for information. You start trying to kind of get a feel for the crowd. And what you're starting to learn is this is a very interesting guest list. Matthias has put together a pretty diverse crowd of higher up individuals. You come to learn that there are several council people from the city council, that even the mayor is in attendance at one point, that several of the state senate come through at one point or another, several just high position government officials, local government officials come through, and then high ranking individuals of industry from the area, especially shipping and receiving, or from the dock area, as well as from the port, like from the cruise line industry, seem to come through. Even at one point, one of the executives from the coal plant from the docks, where he bought the shipping and receiving factory down at the port, comes through. The one that you know is in bed with Endron. Now, you don't make direct contact with them, but you do come to know that they are in attendance.
Okay.
But it does seem that he has brought together quite a few high-ranking individuals. You do also come to learn that there are just a lot of various captains of industry, just important CEOs, and various people who've been staying at the hotel as well, like other government officials that are in town from other states in the area or countries. What would you like to do?
Interested in knowing more about the Endron guy, but I don't want to be like obvious about it.
Okay.
Considering. I'll continue to mingle, hopefully, like trying to at least get closer or get a face to go with his name.
Okay. Give me a... This would be... Let's go with a wits and investigation.
Okay. Not so great. Two successes.
Okay, so as you are trying to get closer, you do eventually kind of catch wind, especially as you come upon a man who seems to have just received a business card that he is stuffing away, and you get you get a glimpse of the business card that does have the logo of the company on it, and the name says Alex Stedman as he's stuffing it away. Following the direction that the man is moving from, you see a man probably in his early 50s with salt and pepper hair, done up in a tuxedo as well, clean shaven, but starting to wrinkle. That seems to have an older woman on his arm, but she's also done up in jewels with salt and pepper hair as well, that is done up really nicely. That seems to be passing out these business cards to another group of individuals that are gathered around near them.
Glance at Charles. Need a break? Or up for a little more mingling?
This is exhausting. How do you do this? Do you even care what
Exhausting.
these people do?
Some of it's a blur, but I'll look over to that group. One of them's interesting.
What are you thinking?
Just a little meeting. Hello. Maybe get to know a local Indron person.
How do you know you're not on their radar still?
Well, I'm Allison.
All right, Allison. But keep it brief.
Yeah. I'll keep it brief.
So leading your way over to this small group that seems to have collected around the man in question, you approach. And as you do so, the man looks over in your direction and gives a smile. Hello!
Good evening.
And who do I have the pleasure of addressing?
Oh, I'm Allison Blair.
Allison Blair. Alex Stedman, nice to meet you.
It's a
Happy New
pleasure.
Year!
Happy New Year. Are you enjoying the party?
I am. And what do you do, Allison?
Oh, I'm Arm Candy.
Oh, and who are you with?
This is Charles. Charles Albrecht.
Charles gives a tight smile and holds out a hand, and Alex reaches out and shakes his hand. Oh, yes, the nephew of our dear host. Mr. Albrecht, it's nice to meet you. Charmed, he says, giving a squeeze and a shake of the hand. Well, this is quite a soiree your uncle has put on. Mm-hmm, he says, trying to smile as best as possible.
It's very lovely. I'd say this is maybe one of the good parties of the year, isn't it? Wouldn't you say?
Indeed, probably one of the nicest I've been to tonight, although there are a few more stops we have to make.
Oh. See, a man who likes to travel a lot through the new year. You know, you should be careful. I've heard that what you're doing on New Year's Eve could carry over to what you do for the whole year. Sounds kind of tiring.
Oh, well, I do tend to get around quite a bit. It's a traveling trade that I'm in. Speaking of which, and he reaches into his pocket and holds out a business card.
Thank you. I'll hand it to Charles. He does most of the business stuff. I don't have the brain for it.
Charles takes the business card and slides it into a pocket. Well, I have a few more people to meet. It's very nice meeting you, Allison.
It was a pleasure.
Roll me a wits and awareness.
Three successes.
Okay. So as Mr. Stedman turns and starts making his way across the room towards the party, your eyes get drawn towards the doorway. Partially because you're scanning the room, but partially against your will. Roll me a composure and resolve.
Four successes.
Okay. You can feel yourself being pulled, but you manage to resist as the whole party starts to fall silent. Something sweeps over the crowd. Conversation dies down as Edward Bateman walks in to the New Year's party. When he does so, all attention is drawn his way in an almost effervescent and intense pull. He gives a dashing smile, which causes several gasps across the room. And even a couple of people give a light applause as he makes his way in. And he starts shaking hands with individuals, kissing ladies' hands, making his way in. You can feel Charles's arm tighten against your hand. This is your test, Jester. Don't fail me.
For me, my eyes were drawn to him as well, and it was like everything else faded away except for Bateman, but it wasn't that adoration that everyone else seems to have. It is deep rage, and my prey is right there. I'll take a deep breath. This is why you brought me?
Remember how I told you about appearances?
You're risking a lot.
Yes, I am.
Is Mia with him? I'm looking.
As you look, he does seem to have a retinue following him. You do not see Mia in attendance.
Okay.
Charles turns, kind of turning his back towards Bateman so that he's facing you, his mouth very close to your ear. I believe in you. The fight is coming, but not tonight. What you show your enemy is how they see you. He does not see malicious Jester right now. But you have a choice. You can force him to see it, therefore exposing yourself. Or you can show him something different and keep the advantage.
I'll take several deep breaths and attempt to put the smile back on my face.
Anna is covering you. He cannot detect what you are. Not through his worm gifts. Only you can expose yourself. Through your
Okay.
words and through your actions. This is your chance to learn something. Or to ruin everything. And with that, he turns and starts leading you over towards Edward Bateman. As you cross the room, with your hand entwined with Charles, I'd like you to make another composure and resolve check. Your rage, however, spikes to a 3 as you get closer to Edward Bateman.
Three successes.
Okay. So as you approach, that control you felt that helped you resist the pull of his gaze, you can feel it starting to slip a little bit. You can feel your heart starting to pound a little harder, but you manage to keep control as you get closer. You manage to steady your breathing as you approach. As Charles comes close to Edward Bateman, he says, "Good evening, Mr. Bateman. Happy New Year's," and he extends his hand. Edward turns, meeting Charles's gaze, and extends a hand. "Charles, Happy New Year's," and gives him a handshake. "And who is your lovely acquaintance?" "This is Allison." "Allison, lovely to meet you." He holds out a hand to you.
I'll take his hand. It's a pleasure.
He raises your hand up and goes to plant a kiss on it. I'd like you to make another composure and resolve test.
Three successes.
Okay. So as he kisses the top of your hand, his lips surprisingly warm, which is not what you expected as they touch the top of your hand. You do manage to keep your rage from raising to a 4 as he does so, and then lets go. "It's a lovely evening for a party. I'm so glad that I could make it. Your uncle was so kind to invite me." "Of course, after our business dealings, we couldn't help but invite our new business associate. Thank you for attending, Mr. Bateman." "Oh, the pleasure's all mine. New Year's Eve is such a lovely time. Speaking of which, I have some other businesses your uncle might be interested in. Some new properties have just recently become available. It seems that there are others that are looking to move out of the area and are looking to find new investors to take over their business practices." "Well, I will have my uncle's people call your people, Mr. Bateman." "Excellent. And what is it you do, Allison?"
Oh, I'm a writer. I love stories. Charles is a close friend of mine, so he invited me tonight.
"I see. Well, she's absolutely lovely, Charles. You have a good eye. Anything I've read?"
Oh, no, of course not.
"Well, I'm sure I will soon. And what is it you like to write?"
Oh, more about the environment and things like that.
"Oh, really?
Yes.
Perhaps you were inspired by the recent hurricane."
It has become a small project of mine to look into. I'm still in the preliminary parts of it, but
Hmm.
Perhaps I'll find a piece that I can sell to a magazine.
Well, I'll keep an eye out then. Always looking for up and coming artists.
I would love for you to read it someday.
Excellent. Well, this has been lovely, but I should be making the rounds. Good evening to you both. Happy New Year.
Good evening. As he's leaving, I'm watching his retinue. I'm trying to pick out if there's don't know if I want to risk it. I will give it a try. I will try to do I know it's iffy with spirits right now. No, I think I don't want to. I'll just wait. I'm just trying to pick out like who he has as guards and who he has as just hangers on or something else.
Okay, give me a wits and investigation.
Okay. Two successes?
Okay, with 2 successes, as the group passes by, there's probably about 6 in total, including Bateman, that walk with him. There's 3 women and 2 other men that go with him. The 3 women are in lovely gowns that are walking with him. They don't seem to be carrying anything that could appear to be weaponry. Hard to tell if they're guards at all. The men, however, do seem to look like they could have sidearms possibly stashed in their coats, and they are very alert in their appearance. They have the ladies on their arms, but that does appear to be for show more than anything else. And the ladies definitely seem like they're there just enjoying the party, hangers on.
Okay.
As Bateman makes his way further into the party, Charles reaches up and places his hand on top of yours. Good work. I know that was difficult.
I really want to hit something.
Let's go outside. Our job
Okay.
is done. As you head outside, Charles leading you out, you end up going outside of a delivery dock to the back parking lot outside of the hotel. As the sounds of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and as it hits the new year, your fist goes slamming into a dumpster, leaving a very deep dent in the side of the dumpster. Starting 2025 off with a bang. In our final scene of the evening, it's a few days later, and we find ourselves a little bit outside of Tampa. As 3/4 of the pack, well, 3/6 of the pack, I suppose, at this point, have assembled in the town of Thanatasassa, it's hard to pronounce, at a small knife shop where they have rented out the equipment used for forging knives. Now, Lucas, this was your kind of brainchild, your endeavor. Originally intended for the old cairn, although now, considering everything that's happened there, you've decided to shift gears a little bit. You've called Aiden and Jester out to meet with you, to take the next steps in your plan to forge a klaive for your leader. So you've met at this knife shop, the first time the 3 of you have been together since the trial. The scene is yours.
Lucas is just sitting or kind of leaning against the front of his truck, and he's got his bag, and he's got 2 bars to ingots, and he's just tinking them together, watching the two of them show up.
Hello. How you
Hey,
doing?
good. Happy New Year.
Oh
That's a
yeah, that's
thing.
the thing.
It's the thing we say. Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
it's
Happy New Year.
inconsequential of whether you mean anything by it, but it's a thing we say.
Yeah, we did it
Platitude.
again.
It's like good luck. We need that. Are you guys ready?
I'll hold up a stack of looks like thick, like tag board or something with something printed on them. I'm ready.
Oh, excellent. Perfect.
I brought branches from the forest.
Even better. Even better. And I got the things. Let's head in.
So heading into the shop, it doesn't seem like it's anything fancy. Kind of like a roadside shop, would easily be skipped over, ignored, except Lucas, you did your research. You tracked down a place that could easily be ignored, could go overlooked, and, with the right amount of money, would go off the record with a nice hefty payment to the shop owner. There would be no paperwork to say that anything ever happened here of the sort. In fact, you were kind of given carte blanche as the owner was going to take a lunch break, as you showed that you were proficient enough to show that you knew what you were doing with the equipment here and wouldn't cause too much of a kerfuffle. So, as the owner gives you a nod, who is an older man, probably nearing his 60s, almost 70s in age, he kind of gives you a little two-fingered salute and heads out, leaving the shop to you. There is a small equipment back room with all the tools you need, including hammer, anvil, small furnace, forge set up, and everything seems to be fired up and ready.
Lucas will head over to the equipment and he'll get out one of the blocks and start packing sand into it and look over at Jester and say, do you need to cut it out? We just need to press that design down into the sand because this is what we're going to pour into.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's on you. I'll go over and check the forge and see if it's running hot enough to go ahead and put the ingots into the crucible to start melting it down.
Okay. So as you're all preparing, making all the necessary adjustments, we'll do the crafting roll here in a little bit, but you're free to have any conversation you wish to have, as none of you have seen each other in a little bit. Silence kind of falls for a moment as everyone's doing their work. But there's a little bit of tension as you all think back to the trial, as you think back to what was said, as you think back to Jester being the only kind of dissenting voice at the trial. What thoughts are going through each of your head in this moment, the three of you being together with all that's passed since? Aiden, we'll start with you.
He's whittling down the pieces of wood that he has to get the handle ready, but he's thinking about things have to get back to the way they were. This tension can't sit here. As it was brought up to him by two people he has a lot of respect for, that the things upcoming can't be done by ourselves. We have to work together. He's trying to figure out the best way to bind them all back together.
Jester, there's not any real tension with Aiden, but with Lucas, the last real encounter you had with Lucas was kind of a screaming match in Charles's apartment. And at the trial, you never really got to talk or hash things out with Lucas about what happened that night. All that you really had was the trial itself, and then you guys kind of parted ways and haven't seen each other since. What's going through your mind about this kind of coming together?
First question. Is my rage back down to 2?
It is. Yeah, you've
Okay.
settled since then. It's been a few days.
All right, just making sure. All right. I'm debating on if I want to start saying anything, and then again, I'm just like, if he pops off his mouth, I might punch it. So I'm kind of just concentrating on cutting this stuff out.
Okay. So just trying to stay focused on the task, letting the distraction do the work of keeping the thoughts at bay,
Mm-hmm.
keeping it at the back of your mind. And Lucas, how about you? You've orchestrated this whole activity, but also Jester's here, and also there's still that unresolved tension there of, well, the last time we saw each other, plus she was the dissenting voice at the trial. But a lot's happened since then. So,
Yeah, Lucas is not good at, well, he's not good at a lot of things, but one thing he's especially not good at is apologizing. It's just not what he feels comfortable doing, but he's trying to roll around something in his head that would sound like an apology, but also probably be something snippy at the same time.
okay. So silence hangs in the air as everybody works on their various tasks, preparing, trying not to make eye contact with one another, trying to focus on their tasks.
Hey, Jester,
Yes, Aspen. Or sorry. Yes, Aiden.
we're working on the thing for Aspen. Um, how is your pen and writing?
Hmm. I've been working on a few things, but mostly.
Thinking something written on the handle?
Oh, no, no, no. Hold on. Come here, come here.
Okay.
I'll show him the pictures of the on the blade. Like it's five like small little symbol pictures that like basically tell the story of getting the tear of Gaia. Um,
Ooh.
the first one is like a star with a moon with all like with the five tribe symbols, the silver fangs in the middle. Um, on the right is the Glasswalkers, on the left is the Galestalkers, and then to the right of the Glasswalkers is Black Furies, and to the left of the Galestalkers is Ghost Council. Like all those symbols under it. The next one is three Garou fighting an emaciated Garou with like a skull for a face under this dome. And it seems like the emaciated Garou is winning. And then the biggest one is like the center, which is like this Garou with like the silver fang symbol on her chest, like smashing the moon into the dome. And then the fourth is two Garou flying down, like it's like they have it has little like air things in the middle, like they're crashing into the emaciated Garou. And then the fifth is all five holding up the Tear of Gaia.
Man, this is so cool. Did you do this?
Already helped, honestly. We kind of did it with computer. I'm not great at drawing, honestly. Like I suck at it, but
Me too. My stick figures are getting better. I'm remembering the arms now.
well, that's good. But yeah, already helped. But yeah, we came up with this. Figured it like could be along. We're gonna hopefully put it on the blade, I think.
Lucas, have you seen this part?
No, I haven't. Let me see that. This is. It's good. You didn't do the detail too small, so it's going to actually show up pretty well in the cast.
Yeah, we tried to keep the detail kind of simple, so that it would show up.
Nice. Okay, so I need you to these two blocks of sand. I need you to press it in there, and then we're gonna flip it and press it into the other side, and then we're gonna clamp all this together. Then we're gonna poke a hole in the top, and that's where we're gonna do the pour.
Okay.
It's gonna get hot, and please watch your fingers. I mean, we don't just nobody go to Galabro, please. Just don't, because it's gonna get really bad if we screw this up. Because this is newsflash, first time I've ever done this, so this is gonna be a experience for all of us.
Cool, cool. Always great for first times.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're preparing, Lucas, you start to feel the pinpricks start to climb up your back, up onto your shoulder. Tick tock, tick tock. We're wasting time. We had a deal, Lucas.
I gotta go check the propane feeds back to. I'll be right back. I'm gonna head towards the back of the workshop.
I just guess we keep doing what we're doing. Look to
I
Aiden.
guess I'll keep whittling.
Yeah, I guess so.
Whatever.
Get back behind there, and I know, but there's other stuff going on.
We
You didn't
made
put a
that
time
deal
frame.
last year.
You've been hanging around me too long. You're starting to. Maybe I am starting to rub off on you. But I'll get to it. Okay, I will get to it. Just patience.
Not my strong suit.
That's probably also be rubbing off on you. It's unfortunate. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get to it. Just let me do this thing. Then we'll get to it.
What about the other one? You have the pieces. Why are we wasting time with this one?
Also something that's gonna come up later. Just let it go.
Lots and lots of empty tasks left hanging. Lots
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, I know.
New Year's resolutions?
Not making any more promises or deals with you right now until I clear the table on what we already have.
Fine. Good luck.
That's an odd statement coming from you. Huh.
All things in balance. Isn't that what you want?
Exactly.
We'll see.
Oh,
Feel the pinpricks start to retreat down your back.
come back around from the back of the workshop looking a little uncomfortable and checking the crucible and say, okay, gloves, grabbing gloves. Need gloves. This is Aiden, you need gloves. You gonna hold this? I need you to hold this.
Nah, I don't need gloves.
Oh,
You
you're
need
gonna
gloves.
want it. You're gonna want them.
Aiden, have you ever accidentally put your hand on a stove eye when it's on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Think about that times 10.
That's way worse.
I need gloves, Lucas.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting here. Grab these. I'll grab these.
Thank you.
Put gloves on
All right,
too.
so now what?
All right, we'll set it down. and underneath the crucible and tilt it and start doing the cast pour.
Okay. Now's the time. Aiden, Jester, is there anything else you'd like to try to do to assist before we do the crafting roll?
Can I make sure that the crucible, that I have it sturdy, locked into the tongs for a decent, good pour? Am I not gonna drop it?
Sure, give me a strength and athletics.
Five.
Okay. Jester, is there anything out of the ordinary, anything unusual, anything creative you'd like to throw into the mix? This is a very ritualistic Garou thing we're doing here.
Hmm. I think I will really I can't do anything for the actual like creation of it, but however, I can hum a song to help like keep things like just rhythm of things going.
Okay. What song?
I I'm gonna go with War by Poets of the Fall.
Okay. So as you start humming, roll me a charisma and performance. And if you have singing, you can add the additional die.
I do not,
Okay.
but it's fine. Though I will spend a willpower. Glad I did. That's 6 successes.
Okay. Lucas, go ahead and make me an intelligence and craft with 2 additional dice. Contributed from Aiden and Jester.
Rage 2.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Six successes with a crit.
Okay. The process is fluid. Everything seems to work as it should. As Jester sings, the song starts to take the rhythm of everything. The flowing of the hot metal. Eventually, the sound of the pounding of the hammer. The ringing out of the steel. Everything starts to take shape. As the klaive starts to get forged, something unusual starts to happen. Something like the beating of drums starts to echo along with the sound in your chests and in your minds. Something starts to take over. Outside, even though this was like mid-afternoon, it feels like it grows dark, like the hours pass by. And in the glow of the white hot metal that is being pounded on the anvil, that is taking shape, that is being molded, a slight glow starts to emanate from outside of the window. And then it starts to glow brighter and brighter as it starts to draw nearer and nearer. not allowing yourselves to be distracted from your work, the rhythm keeping you focused on what you're doing. The light passes through the window, working its way into the workshop and flittering through the air. It starts to twist its way around above the work that you're doing. This little falling star starts to wind above the blade before finally dropping down onto the blade itself, submerging into the held up tear of Gaia that is etched into the blade itself, splashing down onto the blade, causing even the metal to ripple a little bit before being pounded out by the hammer. Eventually, as it's submerged into the water, the hiss causing it to emanate, the stardust kind of floats to the surface and hisses out with the steam. And you hear the lightest of giggles in the air. Good job, guys. The blade has taken shape. The handle inserts cleanly and affixes nicely to the blade. When all is said and done, the klaive is a masterpiece. Perfectly made, perfectly forged, perfectly fitted. All of the pieces come together as they should. The ritual, unknowingly, is a success. Though it wasn't meant to be, it was just meant to be a work of steel and silver, a work of strength. Through the different art that all of you brought together, it became a rite, sponsored by your pack patron. And a little bit of ritual magic took place. The klaive of the evening star is born to be granted to your sept leader when the time is right. It's time for this pack to forge ahead, to find a home, to hunt down and finally destroy Bloody Mary, and to bring about a new nation. This is where our story for this evening comes to a close. But it can't end just yet without one final scene. Deep in the bowels of a ship, bobbing out in the bay, we see a stout woman with curly brown hair stalking along a corridor within the ship, moving towards the far end of the boat itself. Eventually, she reaches a heavy steel door. She grabs onto a large turning wheel and pulls it to the side. She pushes the door open. She kind of smirks a little bit as she steps in through the door into a dark room. She walks over to a crate, large, long crate, probably about 7 feet long, about 3 feet wide. She pulls open the lid of the crate, and inside we see a man probably about in his early 20s, swarthy skin, long black hair, seemingly unconscious, a stake through his chest. She looks down at the man. Hello, my prince. Ready for a final voyage? And that's where our story comes to an end. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you so much to everybody watching at home. Stay tuned. For the next 2 weeks are the last episodes of Season 2 on the hunt for Bloody Mary. Thank you to the players. Thank you to you watching. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media down below. And if you're interested in the world of darkness, come join us on St. Pete by Night by following that Discord link listed there. You can be a part of our community and you can join in on our one-shots or just come chat with us. We talk about all kinds of fun, nerdy stuff. We'd love to have you here. And next week, we're hoping to have our beloved Silverfang champ back. We missed you. We love you, and we can't wait to have you back. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a good evening, everybody. We'll see you soon.